Okay, thank you for coming tonight. I'm going to open the public session. Would you guys like to lead us in the pledge of allegiance? Yeah? Yeah. Whenever you're ready.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to the superintendent's report and the bond note presentation.
So we're going to briefly go over another update on the bond vote that has been set by the Board of Education. The vote takes place October 24th, in just over a month's time from now. We've been having presentations at every board meeting since the board has adopted the vote, and we will continue to do so up until the vote takes place. So tonight we're going to go a little bit more in detail about what is in the vote itself, what is in the project list, and the cost breakdown for it.
Yeah, so, as we've talked about, and you can expect to see us out around town doing a lot of these presentations. Every board meeting we'll be talking about it. We really want to get the information out there. We want the community to understand the things that we put in here, because they basically are following three different goals. One, and you'll see them color coded like this: health and safety for our students, faculty, and staff. Obviously, our highest priority is keeping our kids and our staff safe. So that's part of the bond. Second is that many of our facilities, and in particular our boilers and things like that, have aged beyond their useful life. So we do need to take a look at that. And as you can imagine, those kinds of projects are very costly projects. So they do require financing, extended financing, and that's a bond. And third is the educational enhancements for 21st century learning environments, which you'll hear us say is our kids deserve high-quality facilities, comparable to every other student and every other district in the region. And that's what we're striving for, so that our kids can learn in those kinds of environments that encourage collaboration in 21st century learning.
So we're breaking the project down. It is a large bond that we're putting forward, and what we're doing is working with the architects on how do we get this project done and all of these different work that needs to be done within the building or on the ground. So it's going to be broken out into what we foresee as 4 separate phases. It would start in the summer of 2024 and go all the way out to the 27-28 school year, potentially roll into the 29 school year, and that's all depending on timing, material availability, contractor availability, and bid specs. So the phases, though, as we broke these out, it was determined with the architects based on the amount of work that needs to be put into the plans that we have to submit to SCD. So is there mechanical and engineering that has to go in? Is it just mechanical? Is it site work? Do we have to have the environmentalists come in to take a look at the work first? So all of that goes into play so we can determine what phase each project would fall under. Those that would get a quicker turnaround from the architects are bumped into phase 1. And it is a small amount of work just due to the timeline. Should we have success in October, we're looking at getting plans submitted around January. And then SCD is about 20 weeks out on approving these plans. So we have to kind of back up. Once we have the approval, that's when we then can go out to bid for these projects to get and secure contractors. The borrowing will also occur over a 4-year term. We will not borrow the full $44 million up front. The borrowing will happen in the increments of the projects that are occurring. And there's various ways that we would do that. It will really depend on the interest rate at the time. Currently, it is efficient for districts to bond immediately. Typically, you would do a bond anticipation note and roll that and only pay interest and not principal. But right now, due to low borrowing rates for school districts are actually bonding right away in smaller increments. So depending on the time and the economy at that time of the borrowing, we'll work with our fiscal advisors closely to determine what's in the best interest for the district as well as for the taxpayers.
And of course, our rating is very high. We are under no fiscal stress, so that leads to what sort of things.
So we also are at a high reimbursement rate of state aid. We do get building aid on a lot of these projects. Our aid ratio is at 78% currently. Not all projects are aided, and we have discussed that as a committee, a bond committee, that as we developed this plan. But most of our projects within the buildings will be aided at the 78%. So how did we develop the cost of each project? How did we come up with a total number of over $44 million? It was a year-long process, working with the bond committee and working closely with our architects. The architects do develop the cost estimates behind every project. Inflation has impacted these costs. They have had to do an inflation rate of, if we did this about 5 years ago, the bond would have only been about $30 million. But due to the cost of inflation over the past 5 years, we're now at $44 million for the state projects. The estimates that we have in there are fully loaded numbers. So they include the labor, material, the architect fees, our bond counsel fees, fiscal advisor fees, any project management fees that we have, as well as some contingency costs. There are a lot of projects, as Dr. Mazzara mentioned, the aging infrastructure, our boilers. We have some abatement in the Clayton Huey building that needs to get done. We don't know what might happen when we remove some of those things, so we do need to build in some contingencies in order to plan for the what could happen situations. And we will use either a state contract or a county contract or an already vetted contract as per general municipal law. If not, if there is no such contract existing, we will bid out projects as we are required to. And the bids will all be qualified bids and vetted bids. Our lawyers will be involved heavily in that process as well to make sure we have a reliable contractor on site doing the work at the best price for the district.
We've talked about different financing sources and how we've added and been very strategic in the way we are looking at our funding for projects. So obviously, when Karen and I came in, we didn't have a capital reserve. We had established a capital reserve, and just since 2021, we've got $1.2 million saved to assist with large capital projects. So that is favorable on our part. In addition, we have been chipping away at other projects. Previously, we were not using what's available in a capital outlay. Capital outlay is advantageous because if we spend $100,000 in construction, we can get back in the following year at $78,000 based on our ability ratio. So clearly, it's worthwhile to do projects for $100,000 for $22,000 because you get the following year. So capital outlay is something that we started using recently. Obviously, I just kind of posted on social media the front of Clayton Huey is shining now. It's shiny because we did the repairs that were necessary, but also power washed and got it cleaned up and restored to its prior glory. And that's done through a repair reserve. And again, so strategically using the different reserves and establishing these different reserves and financing sources to make sure that we're being fiscally responsible. Same thing with our energy performance contract that started in 2020 is going to result in a greater footprint for us, as well as providing cost savings in the long run in the sense that it pays for itself. So lots of ways that we looked at to try to take care of our aging facilities in a way that was fiscally responsible. But last, we have to go to a capital bond when our projects become large enough. The last bond was in 2015. It was originally put up for $27 million, but that was lowered down to $8.2 million. And the reason we use those numbers is to say that back in 2015, it was believed that there was $27 million worth of work to do here. And that, so $15 million back then that was kind of left undone is work that we're still trying to catch up on. And so when you look at a number like 45 million, you have to understand that 5 years ago, that would have been a $30 million project. And 15 years ago, there was 15 million left on the table. So I think that there's, that project really just addressed the absolute bare health and safety needs that were absolutely necessary at the time. So when we talk about the financing of it, I think it's important that everybody understand how this number came to be. Because of course we can look at it and say, we're fundamental on it.
So within regards to building aid and how is it calculated, how do we get it? There's a lot of information on this slide. I won't go through every single bullet point. But it just goes over, we do get building aid again at 78% cost of able projects. It's paid out over the course of 15 to 30 years, depending on, is it reconstruction or new build, and depending on how your borrowing works. Your projects have to be approved by the voters in order to receive building aid as well. The state uses what's called the maximum cost allowance. It's a calculation that they use based on your population, your square footage of your buildings, to determine how much building aid, maximum building aid you can be paid out. So there is a number that they have out there for us that you can't be paid more than a certain dollar value. Fortunately, we just received that information, and this project is within our maximum cost allowance, so all able projects should receive that 78%. And things that are eligible, like I said before, there's site work, infrastructure, and most all renovations, alterations within the current confines of the buildings. Things that are not eligible would be the concession stand, equipment and furniture in renovated spaces. So if we're renovating a classroom and buying new furniture for that classroom, the furniture is not eatable, but the space that we're renovating is that construction work. The maintenance and storage buildings, as well as this administration building. So originally when we were developing this, we did have some work that needs to be done to this building, some upgrades and just keep up that we had going on. And then we found out that nothing would be aided. So what we're doing in this building is we're building in the repairs for this building through the general fund process. So we have a nice brand new floor in here. We just did over the summer. That was done through the general fund budget. We had to remove an old boiler that's been sitting vacated in the basement. Again, that was general fund budget. They're low cost, low hanging fruit that we're starting to tackle that way, as it's not aided. So we want to try to make sure we get the most for our money out of these projects that we're asking the community to approve.
And projects in your district office also, that, really are not able projects either. So it makes sense to use general fund money on a project.
So we have quite a few slides on what's in the project. What is every single line item within the project, and how much is it costing, and what is the proposed project here for it. So we have it broken out by each building. These slides will be up on the website tomorrow, so please take a look. We also have various resources on the website with all of our materials and question and answers that we're putting out there. So in Clayton, Huey, American Disabilities Act upgrades, that's required. Whenever you do a capital bond, SCD requires you to make sure you're ADA compliance. So we do have a few things that are back from the original construction days. We are in compliance, but now that we're going to propose updates, we have to now bring them up to new code. We have interior door hardwares that was done in the last bond, but there were still some doors that were not complete, so we need to make sure we change those out. Security upgrades, that's the blue light system for emergency lockdown, as well as some PA upgrades that we need within the building. The Brookfield parking lot renovations, that is as of the purchase of 559 Main Street. We had proposed at that time what it would look like, what that site work would look like, to create a drop-off loop over there and expand that parking lot. So that would be included in this bond. As I mentioned before, we do have some abatement that has to be finished up over there. The sidewalks and asphalt. So this front loop, as you came in, you're seeing the damage that is happening into that loop. It is just starting to see more and more cracks, and we're concerned that we're starting to see more and more safety issues over there. Boilers and heating, they're the original boilers, so we do need to replace them out as we're starting to see more and more repairs. They're starting to fail during heating season. So in order to keep that up, we do need to get in new units. An upgrade to the public address system, the all-purpose room, and upgrade to there. So this summer we did make that floor nice and shiny. If you've been in there, if you went to open house night last night, or you're coming tomorrow, it does look nice because we were able to kind of lipstick on a pig, really shine up the floor nice. But if you really look at it, the floor needs a complete strip down and a redo. The stage is starting to deteriorate. The curtains are, it's an old original room that really needs a nice facelift. The STEAM lab, we are looking to kind of convert that space into a 21st century learning space for the needs of the building. So high school and middle school, these are, as it is one building, we kind of combined it all into one list, which is quite lengthy. So we have some roof replacement that needs to be done over there. We have quite a few leaks that are going on. Again, the interior door hardware is Clayton Huey. Ceiling tile replacement, all the ceiling tiles that are original will be coming out and replaced with the newer tile grids for our maintenance crew to maintain on a daily basis. Because currently, as those old tiles are starting to either get destroyed or wear out. It is very hard to replace them, and we can't get that material anymore. Exterior wall construction, so that's in a couple of spots. We have in the front library, there is some leakage happening in the front windows, as well as we have some concerns over by the gym where we're monitoring some cracks that we need to do some further monitoring and investigative work to see what we need to do for repairs for those. The high school track, there's some safety concerns that we have over there. The long jump, the high jump areas, there is some dips within some of the lanes, so we're looking for a complete replacement of that. The alarm system up in that building, the storage tank removals, the water storage tanks, again, boilers and heaters. PA system is quite antiquated in that building, as well as add air conditioning into the middle school gym. That is a central room with limited airflow, and so we're trying to make sure we have air conditioning in all of our large group instructional spaces. We'll continue with some more security upgrades, similar to Clayton Huey. We would add the blue light system, the one system lockdown, as well as add a security booth at the entrance when you're going into the back, so we can monitor who's coming and going during the course of the school day. The auditorium, get a complete renovation. If you've been in there, you've seen that the seats are deteriorating, curtains need to be redone. It's getting very dark and gloomy in there, so we're looking at a complete renovation. Adding a concession stand, so our maintenance building is currently, it's been repaired as much as we can by our crew, but we would turn that maintenance building into a maintenance building / concession stand. Currently, the Red Devil Booster Club has a trailer that they're running concessions out of that is, again, deteriorating. We would look to have them now have a full concession stand and as well as have laboratories out there instead of the outhouses that we currently have. Baseball and softball fields upgrades would be included in that as well. Some window wall replacement, as I mentioned before, the front library and the leaks. The windows all need to be replaced as they are from all the leaking damage that we've had. Sidewalks and asphalt up at the high school, that is the entire parking lot area, the back lot as well as the front. It is a very large sticker shock number of $4.4 million. But again, those are fully loaded costs and it is a very large square foot area. Library upgrades, so that is turning the library into a 21st century learning environment. We've slowly been doing that with the general fund budget, but in order to really transform that library into the needs of our students now, we are looking at a larger scale project. We're looking to create an IB suite. Currently, our IB suite is off the wing by the music departments, and we're looking to kind of put that IB suite front and center for all of our high school, middle school students to have easy access to have collaborative meetings with the IB coordinators. A STEM outdoor learning lab, we're looking to expand the outdoor learning of our science classes out at the high school. It would be in the back of the building adjacent to the science classrooms. Investigative work into the middle school bathroom issues we have. If you have a middle school child or have had a child in the past few years, you know that we do have some plumbing issues that take place in there. We end up shutting classrooms down because it backflows into them. So we have allotted some funding to investigate that and fix some of the piping issues that we're having. Family and Consumer Science Room, that is your old home and careers for those of us that took home and careers back when. The curriculum has transformed into a 21st century learning curriculum. They're not cooking as much as they used to. We currently have, I think, 5 or 6 cooking stations. We don't need that many. It is older equipment that we have, so we're looking to kind of change out that space to meet the needs of the curriculum for that program. Music suite, that is in addition to the entire building up at the high school, creating an entire music suite wing for the music programs, the theater programs, have them have their own practice rooms, their own practice space, as well as then reconfigure the current small spaces that they have that is off the LGI group. Guidance suite renovation, so our current guidance rooms are very small. We don't have collaborative meeting space for colleges to come in and meet with children, for career counseling to take place, so we're looking to kind of expand that space. Health and PE upgrades, that's encompassing, taking on like quite a few projects in that category. So we're looking at the wing of the high school athletic wing, kind of reconfiguring that space and trying to see how we can get the weight room to be more efficient to the use of our students. Looking at the wrestling room, we're looking at outdoor learning spaces for the health and PE program. So like I said, there's a lot to do over there. The dollar value is quite high. Again, those are cement walls, so we have, in order to do some construction there, it would be a bit costly, but we do need to kind of reconfigure that space to be conducive to our student athletes and the needs that they have. Which I think I missed and I did not see. The middle school locker rooms were on there. I don't know, I missed it. Were they there? I just skipped over it. So middle school locker rooms are original to the building, so it would be a complete redo of those locker rooms as well. And then we have a dollar amount in there for our bond and fiscal advisors. We then have Proposition 2. So all that information, that was $44 million, that's in Proposition 1. Proposition 2, the committee has decided to put up 2 propositions. And this one is contingent upon Proposition 1 passing. So Proposition 2 can come through with yes votes and Proposition no votes. Neither will go through. Proposition 1 has got to be successful for Proposition 2 to take place. You can vote yes on one, no on another, yes on both, no on both. It is your prerogative, but they are contingent with each other. Proposition 2 is to turn the main field up at the high school into a turf field, as well as redo the bleachers and the press box to kind of expand the bleachers a little bit more, make for a more comfortable environment for our spectators as we visit those fields. So how are we paying for this? This question has been asked the past couple days as people are finding more and more out about the bond. As I mentioned, it would be done in 4-year increments. So based on those phases, we broke it out. These are the various costs: 4 million, 16 million, 20 million, 7 million. Again, 78% building aid is received on all the eligible aided projects. So what we're looking at for the taxpayer, on the average taxpayer, with the information we have today, we're looking at each phase with incremental increases of anywhere from about $13 to $23 a year incrementally is what we're looking at by phase. So we have more presentations coming. If you have any other questions, please feel free to stop in at any of these presentations. Dr. Sarah and I are attending every open house. We have flyers and information table. We have a video running with some clips and facts about it. You've seen as you walked in some poster boards with some information about the bond. We will also be doing some open houses. Feel free to come visit us. We'll do every 20 minutes a tour in each building to kind of highlight some of these main areas that we have proposed in the bond. We want the community to come in, especially those that don't have children and haven't been in our building, so that they can see what we're looking at, what we're looking to replace, and what we're looking to fix. So those will be in October, and then we'll have a meeting, the PTO meeting will do a presentation, and we'll be holding a community forum. Dr. Sarah and I will open the doors to the entire community on a night, October 4th at 7 o'clock at the high school library. It is open, to everybody, where we will be here to give a presentation as well as answer any questions that the community members may have with regards to the bond. Again, the vote is October 24th. It is going to be held in the Main Street Gym with Huey, and it's from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Absentee ballots will be available through the district clerk, Janine Barr. And any questions you might have on the actual voting day and procedures, please contact Janine. Questions or comments you might have on the bond itself, please reach out. Feel free to reach out to myself or Dr. Sarah, and we'll be sure to make sure we get that information out. We do have a dedicated page on the website that we are putting all these presentations and the video clips and promotional material with all the facts on the bond. So please visit the website, share it out so that everyone can be sure to be informed and make an informed decision when they come to vote. Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Terry, can you remind us again the breakdown between Proposition 1 and 2 costs?
So it's 44 million for Proposition 1, and it's 3.2 million for Proposition 2.
Okay. And should one of our pass, are there plans to start funding the capital reserve fund in the first year? So we need to have a proposition we made budget vote to spend for the capital reserve?
Correct. So if we want to use the capital reserve for any of these specific projects, we would link that into a regular budget vote cycle, because in order to spend the capital reserve, the voters have to approve of spending that reserve. So that is, as Dr. Sarah mentioned before, we have $1.2 million in there currently. That money can be used to help offset some of the costs of these projects, as long as voters approve it. Thank you.
Yeah, the final question or comment I had was the annual increase in taxes, is that before or after or taking into account the reimbursement from the state?
That's taking into account what we were able to estimate of what's feasible or not. It's all pending state.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, so we work with both the architects as well as our fiscal advisors, who prepare some projections of this sort for all districts in this process. So they've given us a report with all that data that we were able to kind of cost out what that cost would be for the taxpayers. Anything else from the board?
Thank you, Karen. Our favorite part of every board meeting.
Absolutely.
is your recognition.
Yes, 100%. Thank you. All right, well, I'm just going to say a couple of things, just, really happy to be back. Our teams are on fields, our kids are in classrooms, and I think seeing a lot of big smiles despite the heat to start the school year. But really excited to be back. One thing I do want to discuss is that the New York State Public Transport Association again acknowledged our teams as a school, our district as a school of excellence, which means our kids are not only getting done in the fields, but they're getting done in the classroom. And obviously that's most important. We don't call them athletes college, we call them college athletes for that reason. So really delighted to report that. But we do have a very special guest. Everyone here is special, but we have a special visitor with us today for a very special reason. Our district, as we have publicized, is the first district on Long Island that's referred to as a continuum school for the International Baccalaureate. We're really proud of that accomplishment, and we think that it's something that really talks about the kind of education we want to provide for our kids. We talk about being a small town with deep roots, but a global mindset. And that's what the International Baccalaureate, being a part of the International Baccalaureate does for our district. One of the things that is a part of that is in our middle school, in our middle years program. And we have a student here, Milan, we're so proud of you. And we talked about last year that our kids are out there in middle school, because for an 8th grade culminating project in middle school years, looking at problems locally, solving problems, big or small, but really being so thoughtful about what they do. So I'm going to introduce Dr. Reggio, and the special other special guest we have here is our state senator, Lee Murray, who's here to recognize Milan Brown. So Dr. Reggio, do you want to continue to talk a little bit about her project? Because
Absolutely.
we've already recognized her at a board meeting, but it's so special, we needed to bring it back and bring the senator here.
So as Dr. Massara said, our IBMYP community projects is one of the most special aspects of our middle school right now, and it truly is the community project showcase in May. Really is has become one of my favorite days of the school year. And you walk around the middle school gym, and every single middle school student has a project that's personal and special to them. And one of the reasons why the students are most passionate about them is that they are choosing a project that if you talk to each table, which is my favorite question, is like, why did you choose this project? Their personal story really comes through and shines through. And a lot of them are heartwarming and emotional, and we cry and we hug, and it's a beautiful day. So I want to share a little bit about Milan's project. I'm actually going to read her words. The students write a proposal and they present to the teachers. So she said, hi, my name is Milan Brown, and for the 8th grade MYP project, I chose Helping Hands as my project name, which consisted of me raising money for the past due lunch balances at the Huey Elementary School. So the students are charged with thinking about their local community and beyond, and finding a problem and looking to solve it and serve. It's a community service project. The first steps I took for this project was setting up a meeting with Mr. Ritchie, the elementary school principal, to inform him of my decision that I made for the project. Once I discussed with Mr. Ritchie, he told me that I had to speak with the administration office and look at the balances. So she made an appointment with Mrs. Laughlin. And Mrs. Laughlin let her know that the total balance at Clayton Huey for past due lunch charges at the time was $2,570.57. Milan spoke with Mrs. McCormick, who was her teacher advisor,
And she ordered ballot boxes that she placed in businesses in her neighborhood. She stopped it and checked with the local businesses, and upon our weekly check-ins, I realized I was making awesome progress. So in the end, Milan raised $1,421 and donated it to the district to pay off past due lunch balances for our elementary school students at Clayton, Huey. Milan is a student that through middle school, she just started 9th grade, and through the middle school, we have seen tremendous growth. And I remember calling Milan in and talking to her mom and saying, listen, Milan is a leader. The students are following her. So I want to use her leadership skills for good. So we got her into the cycling team. She became a leader on the athletic field. And I have a little bit of breaking news that came out today. Milan was just voted by her peers as the 9th grade class president. Leader, and students gravitate towards her and follow her. So we're looking forward to seeing her use that leadership for good at Moriches High School, and I'm really honored that you came tonight to honor her. So thank you for being here. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Senator Moriches, come up and hold on, come on.
Yeah, sure.
I had to come tonight. First off, we were struggling in Albany to deal with hunger, students' hunger, and dealing with it all across the state. And for you to take this approach, that is really amazing. You know, these days we hear all the bad news. You can't turn on the TV or radio without hearing all the problems and the bad news and all. What we don't hear enough of is the good news. Is our next generation coming through and caring about others and doing the right thing, putting others first. This was incredible. It really was. I don't know, I hope you understand how much you really did help others. So we have a thing in New York State where, as a state senator, we pick, and it's very limited, there's only a few that we get to pick each year, to give a special award called the New York State Senate Commendation Award. And it's to signify and to recognize the great work that you've done and to do for your community and for your fellow students. So I want to present that to you along with a challenge coin. What this is, this also signifies that you've done something outstanding for the community. And what you do is you carry it with you as a reminder, always, of doing good for others. So this is for you, and very few people have that as well. So congratulations.
Ron, can we get a picture of the entire board and Senator Morgan? Would you mind? With that smile on his face.
I don't take pictures, just.
By the way,
I'm his camera
out of
shutter.
my own heart, congratulations on the president of the school board.
Yeah,
Just a side turn. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's so nice.
Congratulations.
And George smiles and everything.
And Milan, that's a big deal when the state senator comes out, just saying.
I think it's a big deal when I got the class president. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And, you know, just a couple of announcements. You know, we had our yeah, right. I got it. We have a couple other students that we want to recognize, of course. We'll start, Mr. Ritchie, they're both Clayton students. We'll start with you, and we have Nathan and Cameron. Do we have what was the order? Whatever you want.
We're proud of both. All right, Nathan, come on down. So, actually, Mrs. Lee, you come join me, because you're gonna give all the grim details of what happened. So, a couple of years ago, Mrs. Molina came to me with a proposition for an after-school club, which was kind of unique at the time, and now is kind of becoming one of those things that's part of the fabric of our school. So, this is our second year running that we're doing the club, right? And the first year running, we found out about a math competition that was going on Long Island. Or I should say, Mrs. Molina found out about a math competition that was going on Long Island. So when we found out about it, it was a really unique opportunity for us to showcase the talents of our students in an academic way. We do a lot to showcase music and sports and all of those other things, but this competition aspect was really unique. So Mrs. Molina, you can give a little bit more details about what the competition was like, if you don't mind, and then we'll talk about Nathan's accomplishment. Here, you got it.
When we started last year, the first time, we started with 15 children, because, well, actually it was only 10 at first. I said 15 because we moved it through the 6th grade this year. But the 10 that went to the competition, it was 5 from the 4th grade, 5 from the 5th grade. We actually had a winner last year as well, and he scored 9th. It was in a lightning round, so to say, many students at a time. But it went from about, we had about 15 schools that participated, and this year, over 40 that went into the competition. And when we were going through everything and preparing all year long, I opened the club not just to the children who were going to compete for that particular award. The first year, we didn't know anything different. The second year, I invited and gave out a test, and kids did as best that they could on the test. And from that, we were able to select 31 students the next year to just come and have fun after school on a Friday. Believe it or not, they were all there to work out math problems. Some of them I'm like, okay, where's the answer key? All right, and they would do so well. But the district did support the fact that they were 4th grade and 5th grade. When the 5th graders moved to the 6th grade, they were like heartbroken that they couldn't compete. And we found a way. And after school, they came. They had rides and what have you. And those 5 children actually returned for the competition. So we had 4th grade competition, the 5th grade and the 6th grade teams from the Moriches School District to do. When Nathan came into that, believe it or not, and last year the 4th grade team won, and this year the 4th grade team won. So I'm like, whoa, where do we go for 4th grade? And he came, and we, again, it got down to a lightning round where there were several schools, and we never know what position out of the top 10 it would be. It turned out that in the very end, Nathan tied for 3rd place. So he was able to snag 3 out of 10, and I have to tell you, that's pretty good. First year was 9th place out of 10, but still, of all the students in Suffolk County that participated in the 44 or something schools, this was truly remarkable for our 2nd year. So we just keep adding things to our collection of, I'd say, wear. We had shirts the first year that they made. 2nd year, they made these hats, and they love the idea of the infinity symbol, representing the Moriches Red Devils and our mathletes. So congratulations to Nathan, who took this prize for our whole entire school district. I'm very proud of him.
Oh, yeah. All right, you guys,
Congratulations.
So another day first for our Moriches School District. We had, annually, we allow our students to participate in the science fair here. So the science fair is optional for all of our students, but we do allow our students to participate in the Brookhaven National Lab competition as well. So the students that want to go that extra step and go a little above and beyond, there is different criteria that they have to incorporate into their projects. So I'm going to ask Miss Lopez and Ms. Holter to come up and give some information Last year, Ms. Craig and Ms. Bloomberg were the advisors of this group, and this year, Ms. Holder and Ms. Lopez are taking over for that group. But they're going to give a little bit of information about Cameron Wallace, who at the time was a kindergartner participating in this Brookhaven National Life Science competition. Take it away.
So as Mr. Ritchie said, Cameron entered last year, particularly community science fair, as a kindergartner. His project was an inquiry into the best way to ship a chip, specifically a Pringle, in the mail. Cameron actually went to the post office to ship his chip in a variety of containers to test his hypothesis on the best way to ship a chip. Cameron ended up winning the Clayton Huey Science Fair and was entered into the Brookhaven National Lab Competition. At the Brookhaven National Lab Competition, Cameron's project was entered along with many other kindergarten science fair projects around the island. And we are proud to say that Cameron was the kindergarten winner for the Brookhaven National Lab Competition. And we would like to display this honor at Clayton Huey for him in the science lab that we have. But it doesn't stop there. Cameron's project was entered into the New York State competition, where his project was up against many other New York State regional winners. And if you weren't already impressed already, we are so proud to announce that Cameron is the official 2023 New York State Science Fair winner. So a big
You can help hold the bag.
Yeah, let's hold it out.
Yeah. You can't hide behind it. All right? I just said you can't hide behind it. There we go. All right, come on right over here so we can see what it says, okay? Sure, yeah. Okay, you want to hold it?
Cameron, it's my very small belly.
Come on.
Reality.
All right. Hey, congratulations. Looking forward to
The big question is, what's the best way to ship a chip?
What is it?
Just eat it.
It was,
I wouldn't
it
ship a
was
chip.
in like a hard tube that is up with styrofoam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Kind of like a Pringles chip.
Right, exactly. It had a little extra padding, right, Cameron?
Awesome. Congratulations, Cameron.
Thank you.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Cameron, and thank you both.
Good stuff, really good stuff. That's fun.
Before we get to the solicitation for committees, I just want to remind everybody, we have two opportunities for questions and comments. First is regarding just this agenda only, that'll be in a couple of minutes. And then at the end of the agenda, there's comments about basically anything you want. We do ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes. And if you're representing a group, that you just select one person to speak. And if you're going to have any questions or comments, there's a book over there on the table right inside the door. If you could just fill out your name and other information, that would be great. Thank you. Congratulations again.
And Nate, we understand it's getting a little late as well. You need to go.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Congratulations, man. Fantastic. All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Mayor.
All right. Well, as Mr. Maxwell said, there are several committees that we are trying to solicit membership to. We will be doing a push for all of these committees, including the bond committee, curriculum committee, DEI committee, safety, health and safety, legislative, technology, health and wellness. In particular, we're going to be actually sending out invitations to many people and trying to get as many people as possible to join our strategic planning committee. Because we really want to hear from our community as we, kind of chart our course for the future in St. Moriches and establish a strategic plan for the district. Did I miss one? Okay.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions or comments regarding tonight's agenda? Oh,
Yes, I wanted to make a question about the bond issue and whether it addresses air quality improvements. I don't know what's been done since the pandemic started, but that would be like whether there have, first question I have is, has there already been any work done on that question, since the pandemic? This is, I've been reading in the Times, there's a lot of stuff about school districts just not knowing about the money that's available federally for one thing, and trying to do some upgrades, but sometimes getting caught up where they're being sold products that aren't actually that great. So, so that's kind of a question and a comment that it seems like a very important issue, and to get it done right, I don't know how you do that, but it's important. So,
So, yes, we have, since 2020, since the outbreak of the pandemic, we have addressed air quality in our schools. We're in the process now of replacing all of the unit vents in the high school presently through our energy performance contract. And as we indicated, health and safety is one of the highest priorities of our project.
right.
And we just did through the CURSA funds, which were, again, COVID funds. We replaced all the exhaust fans in Clayton, Huey, and that was a project that we just did. The replacement of all the filters, we upgraded to the highest degree we could, the MERV rating for all of our filters.
Right.
So all of those kinds of things are absolutely things that we have done.
Right. Is there anything more that you see that you need to do, or is that?
So in here, like we mentioned, we have air conditioning being added into those areas that we have low ventilation, such as the middle school gym, the APR room in Clayton Huey. They don't have the best circulation of air, so adding the air conditioner units, the proper handlers for those rooms, is what's in the box itself.
Right. And is there anything for actually testing to see that the systems that you've installed are actually doing what they're, living up to what they're supposed to in terms of the air changes and how they're filtering and all of that?
So the unit ventilators do get, once they're fully installed, under the energy performance contract regulations, those are to be monitored to make sure that they are providing the right service and ventilation and airflow that's required. And that's a monitoring of over the next 15 to 20 years that will happen by the vendor. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. Anyone else? Donations. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education accepts the following donations: Stony Brook Children's Hospital, school supplies, and Always Compassionate Health sweatpants initiative. 20 in total, 5 each of small, medium, kid large, and adult large. Motion?
Motion.
Second? Discussion?
Yeah, so we were contacted by Stony Brook Children's Hospital. They did something kind of really neat. They had a competition within the departments at Stony Brook Hospital, basically to challenge each other to collect as much supplies as they could. And so they collected a lot of supplies, and they contacted us, Hampton Bays and us, the two districts they contacted, and we were able to graciously accept those to give those to any students who might have any need. So really, just a wonderful gesture on their part, and we definitely like those kinds of competitions.
Yes.
Good stuff. And we sweatpants.
So Always Compassionate is a vendor that we work with for our students with special needs. They had reached out to us that they were doing an initiative to help districts, help the nurse's office really, provide the nurse's office with changes of clothes for some students that maybe don't bring in those change of clothes, especially for our youngest learners that sometimes have accidents. So that way the nurse is fully prepared for some students that maybe can't afford to have that extra set of clothes in the building, or those sporadic accidents that occur. So we were great. They reached out to us and we said, yes, thank you very much. We could always use those things in our nurse's office. So they dropped that off the other day.
Great. We really appreciate it, we get donations. So it's very helpful. All in favor? Yes. Motion carries unanimously.
Yes.
Approval of minutes. The Board of Education is asked to accept the minutes of the following meetings as prepared by the district clerk. Minutes of the meeting of the Board of Education on August 30th, 2023. Minutes of the meeting of the Board of Education on September 1st, 2023. Motion.
Motion.
Second. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carried unanimously. Financial reports, be it resolved that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, accepts the following financial reports. Internal Claims Audit Report, August 2023, Budget Transfer Number 4. Motion?
Motion.
Second? Discussion? All in favor? Yes. Motion carries unanimously. Consent agenda personnel. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education, did I say something?
Yeah.
I make a mistake every time. I missed that, sorry, another page.
So,
Sorry.
so just make a motion to amend. Okay. you can do that. You actually have to make a motion. Make a motion to add.
Okay, so we're making a motion to generate the consent agenda approval. In the consent agenda, we have policy reading and adoption. Our third policy reading, we're just going to have the policy reading, and we will not be adopting it tonight. So
So,
it should be on probably next meeting's agenda.
right, so 13A
13A.
should be third reading of policy 5661 wellness.
Yeah.
Not just strike the words and adoption.
And that's been updated on the website already, right? Motion,
Motion.
second. All in favor? Yes, motion carries unanimously. Approval of all consent agenda items as presented. Be it resolved, the motion to approve the consent agenda items 10A to 14A. Motion, second. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I just wanted to wait on your vote for the consent agenda, and I don't know if you heard me ask for discussion, so I don't want to pass you by. No? All right, so, you vote on consent?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Yes. Motion carries unanimously. Consent agenda personnel.
Don't you think?
No, I didn't finish. I'm sorry.
It's broken down.
It's been a little bit,
They want to get some more.
you know. Oh, for general public. If anybody has any comments, questions? No? Can't believe I messed that up so bad. Informational items. This is what I normally mess up. Bond Community Forum, Wednesday, October 4th, 2023, 7 o'clock p.m. High School Library. Next Board of Education meeting is Wednesday, October 11th, 2023. Audit Committee at 6, executive session at 6:30, action meeting approximately at 7 o'clock. The location for that will be in the High School Library, our next meeting, October 11th. So, motion to move into executive session, purpose for which is to discuss legal advice from the board's attorney. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. We are going to go into executive when we come out. We are not taking any action. No vote on this. Thank you for coming tonight. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Comments?
Thank you, guys. Thanks, guys.